Today, we're going to talk about barking issues. Barking is a very common doggy misbehavior. It's one that really grates on our nerves. It causes a lot of stress for us. The thing is, barking typically falls into one of three categories. One category is the dog's overly stimulated. It's overly excited. You'll see this a lot of times as two dogs are playing together. They start barking and the barking escalates and it becomes higher pitched, and the dog is really just barking and screaming all the time throughout that play. You'll also see it as a greeting behavior. The dog's overly excited, overly stimulated, and it's barking as it's greeting that person. The second type is fear. Dogs will bark when they're scared. This is an alarm bark and it sounds like woo! It's a rapid warning type bark. What the dog is saying is there's some type of scary monster out there and I don't like it. They could do this when they're in the house and they see something out the window, or it might be they're on a walk and something spooks them. And then the third type is frustration. It's not uncommon we see frustration barking in classes. People have their training rewards on them. The dog is getting bored because a lecture is occurring, and so the dog starts vocalizing and saying, I want those cookies. The dog's frustrated because it's not getting the rewards that it knows are available. Or it might be your dog's ball rolls underneath the couch and it can't get it out. And so it barks, and you probably reward it by going and getting the ball out for the dog. The thing that all of this barking has in common is the dog lacks calmness. The dog's not calm when it's barking for any of those three reasons. The solution is to nurture calmness. So we can do a lot of things to help produce an internal and external state of calmness in our dogs. One of the things we can do to help them is we can help them make better choices, especially at those times in which we're not in a position in which we can actively train the dog and give it input that its quiet, calm behavior is advantageous. So we might close curtains so that the dog isn't seeing things out the window. Or if we have two dogs playing, we might interrupt that play after a couple of minutes, have them lay quietly on their mats, and then release them for more play. And we might do that every few minutes to keep the excitement and the arousal down to a more manageable level for the dog. Or it might be we keep the dog out of frustrating circumstances. So we might keep the balls that are going to roll underneath the couch put away, and the dog has the non-rolling type of toys in the house, so they're not causing frustration for the dog. We also want to make sure that we are actively rewarding calmness and really promoting it in our dogs' lives. So lots of games are used to promote calmness as a structured training game. Things like mat training or teaching your dog to go to bed. But we also have those less structured calmness activities that can really promote that internal calm state that you need to not have a barking dog. So one of the things we can do is, as a very casual non-event during the day, as our dog is just laying calmly on the couch or on its bed or on the floor, we can go up and deliver a reward to the dog. We want to make it a non-event. Just very casually go up and reward that calm dog, and then turn around and go away and do whatever you would have been doing anyway. We also can make sure our dog is getting quality rest, and this is super important. A lot of dogs spend their time looking out the window. They spend hours looking out the window, just waiting for something fun to occur out there. That's not quality rest for that dog. It's vigilant. We want really quality rest where the dog is just completely relaxing. For some dogs, that might mean we have to close the curtains in order to make it so that they can really get that quality rest. For other dogs, we might decide, okay, you're going to sleep in the crate for your nap, and we might put them in the crate on a regular basis at a regular time in order to help give them that rest. I do this with Huli on a regular basis. When I'm home at about 6 o'clock, she really is showing signs that she needs to settle in and relax, and she's struggling to do that. So I help her by putting her in the crate. You can use food toys, long-lasting chews, and licking mats to promote calmness. All of those things are going to stimulate a calm internal state for your dog and help it calm down and relax. When you have a barking issue in one area of your dog's life, let's say the dog barks to tell you that it wants to go out, then that barking has a tendency to grow and spread into the other areas of your dog's life. So then you find that you have a dog that's barking during training because it wants the food. And then you find you have a dog that's barking when it's excited because it sees a dog or a person on a walk. It spreads and it becomes a bigger and bigger problem. Barking problems can be resolved, but we have to be proactive. We can't put it off and say, oh yeah, well, I'll deal with that later. We need to deal with it right then at that moment. So what I recommend is you don't teach your dog to bark to go outside. Teach it to ring a bell instead, or some other signal that's going to make it so that you know the dog wants to go out. If your dog is barking at something, you can try distracting the dog. Give it something appropriate to do, and then you have a rewardable behavior. If the dog's overly excited, you can work to bring arousal down with anything in the line of a go to the bed or go to your mat type game that you play with your dog. And you can remove the dog from frustrating circumstances or circumstances in which it's going to be scared and teach the dog that life is good. These things out there are great, and it's going to greatly reduce that barking problem. Okay, I hope you have found these tips for barking issues to be extremely helpful. Feel free to leave me a comment